Yo, what's going on YouTube? This your boy Kamen Zero Spike back again once again today, people. Today we're here for Kamen Gotchard episode 20, episode 2. Getting ahead of myself. Oh my god. We're here for episode 2 of Kamen Gotchard, and in this episode the pacing is a lot better. We're getting a lot, but it's at a good steady pace. Like we're getting explained how how this world basically works, how chemies work, what are the monsters called, like what are the basically we also get some like little origins on the guy who gave Ichinose the gave him the driver. So we see that Minato, his teacher Minato ends up asking him, does he want to become an alchemist? And for him to like do the things that he needs to do, he will have to become an alchemist and actually have to go to an alchemist school where he will be, taught how alchemy works and things like that. So they end up going into this school, and when they go to the classroom, it shows he like Ichinose is like geeking out about everything that's happening, and we see that Minato gives him his first test, which will be make these two cards. The two cards he had was the Mantis, and the other card was Aparipa. It was Aparipa. It was like a humanoid looking like creature thing, like girl thing. And he said that they have different weights. Whatever card, some cards weigh less than others. And he tries to pick up the other card, and he tries to pick up the Appa card. When he picks it up, it weighs a lot. He barely can hold it up, but Mantis weighed perfectly fine. So his test was to find a way to make these two cards, equal. So an equal weight. If he does, he passes. He'll be able to come to the school like regularly. So him and Kudo, he's speaking with Kudo. He's still trying to figure out how he's gonna be actually gonna be able to do this. But we also saw how another little Kimmy, like a little skateboard Kimmy, like a Skibbo, and there's a little skateboard Kimmy is he's running around. He ends up possessing a skateboard. He ends up going to like a skate park. And he ends up possessing a skateboard, and he starts like flipping and dipping and having fun and stuff like that with the kids and stuff. And then in the background, we see a car pulls up, and we see that it's these two guys, and it's clear to see that they just robbed someone, and they ended up getting on, and they getting out of the car and taking off the taking the tape off the license plate, revealing it. I was like, why would you do that? And especially in a wide open place where people can see you. Why would you do that here? But anyway, you see these two guys basically robbed someone, and we see the Kimmy, skateboard Kippo. Skippo can feel like the malice off of these people, and he instantly starts to feel that malice, and he ends up getting attracted to that malice, and he ends up leaving the skate park and following them down, basically following them down the street. And we see that these two guys, they end up taking all the money out, and when they take all the money out, the dude is like, yeah man, they got all these, I'm glad this guy had all this freaking money. He said, now we can, with all this money I can never have to work a day in my life. And then the other guy, just like, they were staying on top of a bridge, and I'm not gonna say what he did to the dude. If you've seen the episode, but he gets rid of this guy. He gets rid of him and takes all the money for himself, and more malice starts to come off of him. And when the malice comes off of him, he ends up possessing that we say Skibbo is actually there, and he ends up getting possessed. And when he gets possessed, he ends up fusing together with the guy, and he's up becoming a monster called we find out later on it's called a Malgam, which, oh god, I'm so thankful. I'm glad the monster isn't like some weird super complicated name. It's just it's two syllables, Malgam. So we see that Ichinose is in the park, and he's trying to figure out how he's gonna be able to pass this test. And Rina, she comes up, Kudo comes up to him and says that, hey, how do you think you'll be able to like pass this, whatever. He asks her like questions like, what is alchemy necessarily? She explains exactly everything, like what alchemy is. It's basically how Fullmetal Alchemist kind of explained it, but kind of like a little bit more dumbed down. Like, yeah man, it's like equivalent. It's like not really equivalent exchange, but it's basically creating something from nothing. But she's able to make things float. She's able to make things, she's able to make things float. She says like a incantation. She says like a phrase or something like that. When she says like that phrase, she ends up but then everything is end up falling back down. When everything falls down, she explains to him that not like alchemy really does not last forever. It doesn't last forever. And if it does end up lasting forever, that's how Kimmies are, born. That's how Kimmies are born. And they're able, like Kimmies have like a special power and things like that. And that's essentially how they're born. And when she explained that, I was like, okay. And it was like subtle too, but it wasn't too complicated. It wasn't all out of nowhere. Well, I mean, it's out of nowhere, but like the second episode is explaining everything. But I like it's very like pace worthy, and we see that Ichinose is able to like really get along with Kimmies. Like he's able to really get along with Kimmies and things like that, and he kind of makes it his thing to where he's gonna like have all the Kimmies and like be able to live with them, like live freely with them and stuff like that. And so he ends up that's when we see that the dude that was possessed by a Kimmy was possessed by Skido. He ends up robbing another truck full of money, and he ends up taking a bunch of that money and stuff like that. And we also saw how we see that the Kiddo asked, how did you, like, who was the man that gave you the driver, stuff like that. Who was he? And it didn't he said like, I don't know who he was. Like he was just some old guy. Like I didn't ask for his name or anything. But then we found it, Kiddo, she reveals that he's branded a traitor. He was branded a traitor because he took all the Kimmy cards, and he basically created the driver, but he took all the Kimmy cards and like ran off with them, and he was branded a traitor. We also got a flashback of her and her dad talking with each other and speaking and talking about this great alchemist who was a hero, and he was called the Alchemist of the Dawn, and that's what they called him because he was like a good hero. And then she kind of like calls her dad her hero and things like that. So this guy basically is her dad. Like this guy is like basically is her dad, but she kind of like is very stoic. No, not very. So you can tell that there's some animosity towards this guy. So we end up saying that Hopper ends up sensing the Malgam, who is out here like doing a bunch of stuff, and that's when he drags everyone to him, drags everyone back to find him. They ended up meeting up with the Malgam, and we see that Kudo actually starts like fighting him. She transforms, she starts fighting him. She ends up throwing a bunch of manhole covers at him, and actually able to like did some like solid damage. I mean, like manhole covers are heavy, and she threw a lot of them at him. She even was able to like hold him down with them, all to the point where like Skiddo was able to like get out a little bit. And just when Skiddo was able to like, because Skiddo was trying to run away from this guy, but the Malice kept pulling him back into this guy's body, and this guy ended up like, no, you're not escaping me. He ends up pulling Skiddo back inside of him, and ends up transforming back into his Malgam form. So after he blasts him off of him, we end up seeing that Ichinose transforms into he henches up, he transforms, but he doesn't transform into the grasshopper form. He just straight up going to regular Gotchard, and starts fighting off this guy. He's fighting him, he's beating him, he's doing a good job. He actually ends up taking the Mantis and the Appa card. He ends up taking those two cards, and he ends up basically fusing them together and creating a whole new card, and actually having an attack, like making like a whirlwind, like razor wind like attack, and ends up whooping this guy's butt almost. Like he's out here. He's not dead yet, but he's getting he's getting handed to him. So he tries to run away after this. Like he gets up, he tries to run off, and Gotchard, Ichinose can't keep up with him. So that's when Minato comes up out of nowhere, and he's just like, yeah. He's like, oh, I was just riding around somewhere, and I might thought you needed this. And he rolls up with Gold Dash, the motorcycle Kimmy. he ends up rolling up with Gold Dash, and then he asks, hey, can I borrow this? And he ends up jumping on Gold Dash, and he's able to catch up with this dude. And while he catches up with him, he ends up fighting him off, taking him on, and he ends up destroying him, rider kicking him straight through the chills. And yeah, and he also ends up saving Skiddo. So now, Skibbo, and now he has like the new skateboard little Kimmy now. And yeah, the episode kind of ends right there with both of Ichinose and Kudo. They're talking, and she said, hey, he ends up passing this test. By the way, he ends up passing this test because he asked the Kimmies to he asked Mantis to gain a little weight, and then he asked Opera to lose a bunch of weight, and to the point where their weights were equal. So now that's how he ends up passing the test. Because he basically cheated. He kind of cheated, but he passed. And Minato's like, that wasn't the way you were supposed to do that, but I'll give it to you. Screw it. And he ends up giving Ichinose a ring. He ends up giving him a blue ring. And also throughout the episode, we kept seeing this guy with. We know that he's also this is our secondary writer, and who's also carries around a big old sword. And he was there. He saw Gotchard defeat the Malgam, and he doesn't respect him. He says that, this guy's calling himself a Kamen Rider. That's a joke, stuff like that. He has a green ring, and he has he has the insignia of the school on his jacket. And we see the side of his face, but yeah, this is going to be our secondary writer. He doesn't have a belt. He henchins with his sword. I've seen his henshin, stuff like that, but he henchins with his sword. So next episode we're going to see him kind of in action probably, and we're going to see his morals and values on what Kimmy's and alchemists and stuff like that is. So yeah, we're gonna see Gotchard get his rival in the next episode. But also we see that we get some information on Ichinose's dad. He talks to his mom. He talks to his mom about it, and he tells her that do you ever wonder how dad's doing? And she says that the whole restaurant that they have right now was his dream, but then he ended up leaving. And his mom, he asked his mom, like, you don't feel bad about that? Like, he just left you here with all this and just went chasing a dream? And she was like, nah, I kind of like people like that. And yeah, that's the information we got on his dad. We didn't see, we saw the picture again, but it still didn't show his face or anything like that. But yeah, no, also we said that Kudo, she explained there are other threats and stuff out there. The three girls are called the Abyssal or Abyssalis, the Abyssalis sisters. And yeah, we didn't see them in this episode at all either. We only saw them when Kudo was explaining who they were and stuff. But yeah, they weren't in this episode, so most they're probably not going to be in every episode, because this episode felt more like a Monster of the Week type of thing. To show off some more stuff, to show off some card combinations, maybe show off the Gold Dash and some other stuff. So kind of also getting a more feel into the world. We got introduced to two new students. Ichinose didn't meet them, but we got introduced to two new students. One guy who probably is very, very super shy and doesn't talk that much, but has a tablet that speaks for him. And another girl who seems like she's gonna be pretty mean. So yeah, always got to have the mean girl. But yeah, and then Kudo's you cheat. You kind of cheated, but that was against the rules what you did, but I'm gonna follow the rules. He's like I did it my own way. He's like, Ichino says yeah, I did it my own way. And then she's like, oh cool, you can do stuff your own way, but I'm gonna follow the rules, dude. Oh yeah, so the episode ends off right there with our secondary writer watching them. But yeah, man, this episode felt way better. It felt a lot better than episode 1. It really did. It felt a lot. The pacing was better. The action scenes were a little better. The camera stuff didn't the camera the camera quality didn't go down, at least for me, and it just felt way more paced. I feel like I understand a lot of the world. I feel like I understand a lot what they do now. It was explained very hand-holdy, but it still was explained very good. And the monsters called Malgams and stuff like that. I actually like the name Like you know, it's supposed to be like, you know, Malice, stuff like that. So I like the name. But yeah, man, it was a good episode. I liked it way more than I liked episode 1. I really did. But yeah, you guys let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think about this episode of Kamen Gotchard. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and remember, as I always say, guys, stay henshined.